Have you ever randomly met really cool people and wished you could get to know them better? That's it. That's the show. Welcome to Season 2 of I Am Not Prepared podcast. I don't even really clearly remember our first meeting necessarily. So obviously, for the folks at home, I am a recent transplant from Texas, the Gulf Coast. And for some reason I was drawn to the gallery, and that drew me to the barn. And obviously you work out of the Albany barn, which is an amazing place.
It is.
Shout out to the barn and the gallery. But I don't particularly remember meeting you for the first time. I just know that you are really one of my favorite people in a group of people. And so here you are. And I keep seeing you around town. Like, we coincide sometimes at some events.
Yeah, like art events. I try to go to as much as I can. I do have a day job and another job and another job. So I have a lot of things.
So it's the art community, and I love that, now you're involved with the performing arts, which I definitely want to talk about as well. But however we first met, I don't know, because I know at the time that I was establishing relationships here, it's incumbent upon me, really, anytime I establish a new relationship, I will bring up the fact that I am sober. And so that's how that led to other conversations with us. And I love meeting other sober people who are doing this thing one day at a time, and it looks a little bit different, but certain facts remain the same for both of us who really want to remain in a recovered state. So I think, with the purpose of the podcast, getting to know people we may know in the community just a skosh better, I wanted to ask you what you would like to share about your life or your sober journey.
I don't know. I like being sober, and like that's the key. It's like, once you like being sober, that's how you win the game. So I was alcoholic. Let's say it all my life. I didn't start drinking until I was in college, though, and progressively got worse, like most things. And one day I just realized it was it wasn't leading to any successes. It was just leading to pitfalls, and there's a sad text message I gotta send the next day. That's a nightmare. But yeah, I think that being sober is I don't know. There's something I want to be like. Growing up, I always liked the anti-hero. I liked the bad things, not bad things, but kind of risque things like punk rock and really fuck you, yeah, and you don't have to do that through drinking. You're just giving your money to a gigantic corporation. I mean, you could not do that, and you can still go to every function you want to. Yeah, sometimes it's awkward, most times, but embrace it. Love the awkwardness, But yeah, I just like being sober, and I think that's key.
I think sometimes, especially folks who are either questioning themselves, or it's been my experience when I'm dealing with younger in age people, let alone younger in sobriety. I'm 13 years sober. I think one of the big questions when people enter recovery is it boring? Is recovery boring? What would you say to that if a newly sober person is like, oh my God, my life is so over now?
I've never been busier in my life. It's true addict personality, where I just fill up every ounce of my life with stuff. But it leads to something. I lost the feeling in my fingertips. It was called alcoholic neuropathy, and so I had to stop playing bass guitar because I'm a bass player, and so I stopped playing music and just concentrated, really focused on drinking, and so now I'm able to be in the band again. I'm able to it's good to feel things. I mean, the whole purpose of drinking so heavily is to numb things out. Because you don't want to feel the things. That's too overwhelming. But like then the next day comes around and you feel everything. And then it just goes into this huge cycle. So I think that, you know, try it. If you don't like it, don't do it. But like I love it. I love being the sober guy. I love having that magical superpower of always being able to drive home. Like that is a perfect thing. An escape mechanism to any event. Love it.
Being your own designated driver it makes the Irish goodbye like so much sweeter, right? I love the answer because it's sometimes coming from a place of, I don't know, wisdom, because it's experiential. When I think of wisdom, I think of having the backing, the knowing of having had the spiritual experience move me through life again and again and again. I've been recreated many, many times. There's been, each version is improved, the template is improved every time I reach for something new, better, different. And so it's like just talking to such like a newborn without being patronizing. It's like there is so much good ahead of you if you just like hang in there. And when you're talking about feeling the feelings, which is crucial to the work that I've done anyway, I'll speak from my point of view, crucial to the point that pain is necessary for growth. So like when you when you say feel the feelings, is there something particular that has been super hard for you to work through that kind of keeps showing up in your life time and time again, stuff you have to continue to work on?
Not so much like stuff I do, just like, you know, the Irene flood washed away my house, my mom's like untimely death, and like always having to take care of my father for the rest of his life, just like downer stuff. And like, you put that stuff off, but like you gotta feel it. You gotta go through the motions of feeling it, or else it doesn't exist. And yeah, I think they should exist in some way. So I don't know. I think that like the human condition is to, you know, feel pain. But like there's things. There's really, really bad things and there's really, really good things. Your goal is to get to here. And that's, if it's something's preventing you from getting there, avoid that thing or go over that thing or whatever you need to do to get through that thing to get to here. I think that's the only way I can describe it, I guess, right?
The will to live and survive myself is what I'm hearing. I mean, that's how I'm relating to what you're saying is at some point, the will to live actually returned along my journey. Like I walked around in a really dead, only existing state, having very little to give, and what I thought I had to give was just made me feel worse for giving. And so having the feeling of being completely devalued and then placing myself in a position to be helped, which is recovery, the rooms of recovery for me, it gave me the will to live again. And I chose the rooms of recovery as the incubator as it was for me. And at some point we grow some wings and start living some life outside of the rooms of recovery. For me, I still return. And it's not all happily ever after, right? Like bad shit still keeps happening, right? Even though you're sober.
Yeah, it definitely does, but it's, you know, it's fine. I mean, that's life. There's shit and there's good things, but like you learn like how to cope with certain things, and you know, I make jokes about everything that's bad, and it's very funny to me. I'm my own best audience, but like some people have other ways to deal with things. People, you know, go to the recovery rooms or therapy or what have you. I just like to make jokes about them to make myself feel better as a coping mechanism. I know this. It's okay.
I was talking with one of the other guests for this season of the pod, and we three have that in common. It feels like the desire to take myself down a peg or lose humility for all the work that I've ever done by saying really crappy things about myself. And so I talked about that with, right? And I'm like, we worked it out within our conversation, but that desire to self-deprecate, for me, I will example, and then I'm curious what you have to say. So when I got down to the nuts and bolts of why I do that, first of all, I see it as I flirt that way. If I look at my behavior, I cut myself down as flirting. And so you talk about, I'm not done yet, right? I still have miles to go. So yeah, I flirt by saying bad things about myself. That's super weird.
Yeah.
But beyond that, for me is like, I guess you could call it abandonment. I would rather shoot myself before you cut me. So, because I am my own worst critic. So that's where my desire to deprecate and like mask with humor comes in. You know, I'm just being honest. I get to the white meat pretty fast.
Okay.
You know? Do you know where your desire to self-deprecate comes from? Or the coping mechanism?
I don't know. Like I have never thought about why I do it, but I just love doing it.
You know, if it makes you happy and other people around you happy.
No, it makes them uncomfortable, and that's something else I like to see the inspiration. Like, dead mom jokes. Who likes those?
I have a dead mom. My mom's dead too.
Like, no one likes those jokes except people with dead moms.
Right.
It just makes people uncomfortable, but like, I like them. I don't know why I do it. I just like doing it. I always found the bad things funny. There's like the anti-hero type thing. Like, I've always found the worst things in the world very, very funny.
It takes the edge off. For me, it's the, like we were talking before, the absurdity.
Yeah.
Like there is some stuff that at some point, by viewing or reading, you know, depictions or whatever, it has crossed the line into a level of absurdity that one must physically laugh. Because A, it's either incredibly painful or will shock the conscience to even try to digest, or I'm not even surprised anymore.
I mean, yeah. I don't know how you can go through life any other way, to be honest with you. I mean, I love like joking around about like bad things that have happened. Like, you know, it's like stubbing your toe and being mad the rest of the day. Why would you do that? Why'd you put that negative thing in the air? But like, you know, you can make fun of you being dumb for stubbing your toe, you know, which is funny.
Right on. I just recently, I've decided to completely embrace the cringe. Like,
yeah,
being in all the work that I've done, the spiritual work that I've done to really get in contact with myself and really stay tuned in, stay checked in.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed that a lot of my personal insecurities come from, or in the past have come from, how I'm perceived by others. I meet a new friend, I be myself, I try to sleep that night, and all I can think of is, you know, did I say something stupid? Have I lost a friend? You know what I mean? What did they think of me? So in lieu of that, and to lose insecurity as a methodology, I've just adopted, this is who I am. And I think being authentic, being vulnerable, being intimate with people, which is my modus operandi, being a human being is fucking cringy. It is cringy by nature, and I feel like so many people try to save their face and their ass at the same time. I'm in a conversation with you, and I can see that you're trying to say that your face and your ass at the same time, and it's not working. Just say what you need to say.
Yeah. I mean, I agree.
And we're back to the autumn show.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. No, someone like you based on our friendship, I can see you in like the idea of embracing the cringe being like totally okay.
Yeah, I like the cringe. I think that, like, you know, awkward, like, come on, I love Curb Your Enthusiasm. I love awkward times. I love doing things for a story. I love doing, you know, stories are what we, like, memory, that's another reason why to quit drinking. You have memories, that's a big thing. But, like, having memories in stories, and like just remembering the hilarity of like this one time I just made a complete ass of myself, and then you talk through it. You have a story. It's fun.
And it's a duality of existence too. For me, is there's in the time of reflection, the periods of reflection, especially by means of self-improvement. It's like we all have something to offer. People. I mean, we all have innate value. Some of us create art that other people hang on their walls. That is not me. I'm the hanger, not the hangee.
Oh, yeah. You're doing something right now, right?
Oh, you know, I spoke to one of the artists attached to the gallery, and they told me the same thing. That was very inspirational. But that, I believe, is part of my purpose. I don't want to say, I'm not the best storyteller, but
You're better with words than I am, that's for sure.
Well, but see, you're better at capturing emotion than I am. Like,
yeah, visually. But like you're better at, like, your podcast itself is a piece of artwork. Just happens to be another form of, you know, you're expressing a human thing, right? I mean, a human emotion, and that's what art at its highest echelon should be, right?
Agree.
Yeah, so, yeah.
You're
doing good things. You're doing good things.
Back to the autumn show. I'm hearkening back to, I think, so when I went and purchased from you Sand Cave, so it's the first work that I purchased from you, and I told you what my connection with that piece was, and it actually, those threads go through your work, which continues to engage me no matter what maybe phase or era you find yourself in. I'm engaged with your art, which is...
Oh, thank you.
I know that, I'm like, oh, that sounds really hoity-toity,
no,
but I really... I find it transcendent.
Alex Waters, everybody. Alex Waters. Transcendent. Transcend into the...
Poor Alex, like, I'm out, peace.
If you're ever at a gallery and say, it really makes me want to transcend into the piece. Ugh. That's... You
know what's interesting about your particular work?
Yeah. Back
to the Alex Waters show.
Alex Waters show.
I find it the opposite. It's descendant. Like it... Oh God, I hate talking to an artist about their work.
No, let's talk. I love talking about me. It's my favorite.
Yes. Alex Waters in my bedroom. Anyway, weird. The descendant part. Like fuck. I'm gonna be thinking about that later. But I do find it descendant because it kind of fuck you out. I find it. The depth of emotion, it really kind of sucks me down into an abyss, and so I ask myself of my own past, a lot of it of my own making, some choices that I've made in the past. So there's like a deeply emotional and physical and mental connection with the style of your work, and what colors you choose, all of that for each particular piece. So when I say descendant, it's kind of like a drag you to hell in the best way, and drag me to hell in the best way, because it's stuff I need to remember those feelings as a touchstone so that I act completely opposite. So I don't what's weird is I do surround myself with your work.
Yeah, you really do.
But it serves as a memory for me that I need to not create it. Do you find that, I know this may be all very out there, existential, but I find that keeping reminders of bad times around, and maybe that's what the humor is about, reminders of bad times around so that I can stay somewhat balanced no matter how much I choose to progress, I never want to forget where I came from. And that's what your work does for me.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, say to that. That's very nice. Yeah, I agree. No, yeah, I have a lot of paintings. And, that's like a little weird thing of like, I know, what state I was in when I made that. So like I have those reminders, I just keep them in the studio at the Albany Barn and not at my house. So I can ignore all that and go to my day job.
I can completely, now that's a level, well, I think I told you at one point at Open Studios last, where I think or someone along that timeline, where I noticed when I was doing my best to create season 1 of the podcast, it was all about me, and I was trying to figure out how to tell stories in a cogent way that made sense, had a little bit of humor, but also captured what I wanted it to capture. And I did notice that it's like when I felt most successful creating that, like once everything was edited and ready for publishing, I was like, I don't want to touch that for a minute. Like that took a lot out of me, that topic, that story, because I went right back in my mind to be as authentic. I mean, I was in it when I was telling each of those stories. So do you feel like you need to step away from your art sometimes, or does it feed you?
It kind of feeds my existence, I think, as stupid as that sounds, because it does sound really stupid. I have to paint once I get into a cranky mood. I get really I get really antsy and feel like I do nothing with my life. I'm a failure. I really blah, blah, blah. If I don't create something within a week, I'm just I'm not a happy person to be around. I get kind of why I do everything to do this one thing. So this one thing is the thing I need to do, but I'm not getting to that goal. So you get cranky about going to the goal, I guess, right?
I love that aspect because it goes, and that makes me question sometimes myself if I'm headed in the right direction, because I've heard that from people who create all kinds of things, is it's a necessary part of their life. Mm-hmm. I am just in an era, so to speak, and I'm trying to discover what works for me and what I feel like I do best. So I'm in my infancy for creation, and I respect and appreciate. I don't set my bar too high for myself because I know how painful that can be. Mm-hmm. Very, very interesting stuff. So just kind of segue a bit. This is such it's like a trite or corny question.
Okay, right.
But well, it's have you, because it's occurred to me several times this year about finding my role, just as I said, so finding a purpose for my life and finding my role in my community. Mm-hmm. Not only what I'm good at, it's what my true purpose is. Sometimes those are the same things. But have you, I know, you're about 10 years younger than I. We both have a lot more life to live, but have you found a strong sense of purpose of your role in the community and your purpose in life?
I don't think so. I mean, I never even thought of that as a thing, having purpose in life. I don't know. I've always thought of living is a thing you do, and I hope to live a long life past this, 70. But I don't know. I think that I just create things, and I like to create things. I don't know if that's a part of the community. I know it is, but I think that's an accidental thing rather than a purposeful thing. I paint because I really like what I do. Not I like what I do, but I like what I do. I like the feeling of it. I like creating things. I don't paint still lives or anything like that, or anything real, so to speak. for that reason, like, because I'm afraid of, like, having to count on the monetary gains of artwork will affect what the feelings I'm trying to do, rather than, like, that's why I want to continue having my day job and, like, having that do the work, as far as, like, that is my job, and I have this thing I do, and this thing I do is what I work for, and I think that it doesn't get affected by, like, I need to make a lot of money this month because I have these bills due, so therefore I have to, paint a cactus. No offense to people who paint cactuses, but, like, it's not my thing. And I think, as far as, like, being a part of a community, there is a strong art community, and I'm a part of it, but I think that's, like, it was accidental. You know what I mean?
I do get it, and it's entirely possible that I misphrased the question, but you landed exactly where you needed to land. There's no bad or wrong answers in that.
There are wrong answers. I'm pretty wrong all the time.
Nah, you're so wrong. You're right. I guess it can be quite an intimidating idea about purpose, because that's ground level shaking sometimes for people. It's like, am I living up to my potential, and is there something else why is she asking if I found my purpose? Like, I don't know if you've seen the movie The Jerk.
Oh yeah.
My true purpose. I was born a poor black child.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I never was a Steve Martin guy.
Me either.
I never was a big fan.
Me either. I tell you what is hilarious, and it never stops being hilarious. He did an SNL skit, like, late 80s, early 90s, called A Christmas Wish. Have you ever? You got to YouTube.
I'm gonna YouTube this.
It is.
I've been on an Eddie Murphy kick.
Woof.
Oh, from SNL.
Oh man, his character, there's like it's like a 15-year period, maybe more, maybe like 75 to 95 or something like that, like all encompassing, like Gilda Radner to Chris Farley, one of my favorite people.
I love, being a fat guy, I love, like, when fat guys get famous. It just makes me feel nice.
Right on.
Yeah, I just like it.
Right on. And you know what's funny about that? Is chicks love fat guys. I mean, you have to beat them off this, yeah.
What was that?
They do.
There's an edit point for you.
Keep it in. We're doing it live.
Do it live.
We're doing it live.
We'll do it live.
And this is why I definitely, the offshoot, the spinoff for the podcast is live interviews on the street, because this is the kind of stuff I want to capture, is,
like these little, like, off the cuff moments of
talking
about fat guys getting beat off.
Rip Chris Farley. My goodness. So it has come to me. I was in conversation, I don't know, at work or something, and we were collaborating on something, and every week there's a new person of note, either celebrity or whatever, who has been canceled or needs to be canceled or something like that. And so I was talking with some of my work friends about, I know that I've affectionately said of the barn, of the gallery, of the artist, that I'm a fangirl, because it does kind of feel fangirly. You guys are like little celebrities to me. Like, I don't want to qualify and say little, but you're like little rock stars in your own right. I value what you do in the community. You really are. I told Dee Collin, I almost leaned out my car and, like, went on full scrub mode, and because I saw her walking down the street one day, and I was like, she doesn't know who you are, dummy. But anyway, so I was like, hey, Dee. It feels weird though. She's like, I don't know who you are. At that time she didn't. But anyway, back to my point was, separating the art from the artist, for me, is a necessity, and I think that stems from my recovery roots of separating the illness from the addict or the alcoholic, which is me. And so I protect myself as much as I like your work, and I actually like you as a person. I don't think you're gonna, I don't think you're gonna hurt me or deserve to be canceled. I'm probably not gonna find out that you SA'd people or domestic violence people or whatever. But in order for me to keep how I feel about a person's art, whether it be their music, comedy, actual, any sort of art form, I have to separate the art from the artist.
Okay.
And because the disillusionment that comes from the public when you are loved, in that whole downfall. How many downfalls? Like, let's take 2017 and the Me Too movement, things like that,
Yeah.
where it's like all these people had such great reputations in their communities or industries, and you find out they're actually horrific people. So in my mind, I separate the art from the artist. How do you feel about that? Are you a fan of people, or are you a fan of people's work and your
I'm a fan of people's work, I think. Like, I don't really, if you go back, before 2010, they're all bastards. Like, all of them. I mean, as far as artists are concerned, yuck. I mean, Picasso, de Kooning, they're not good people. But, their art is really good, and, they're a product of their time. Unfortunately, from 2000 to 2010, it was the wild west of the internet, and as far as TV was concerned, I just watched a documentary on Shock Jocks. That was a thing.
Yeah.
I grew up with that thing, and that was how you were. That's how grown men were talking, and that's how you were supposed to be. That's how you grew up. That's what. I'm happy that kids today don't have that as role models, but I don't know. I think that you can separate the art from the artist. There's some terrible people out there that make really good work, and then there's some mediocre artists that are really good people. I'm a super liberal fella, but of course I've said some terrible things. I have the expression of thought. Shouldn't be a cancelable offense, because it's talking about a thought or an idea or something like that should not be something that is makes you a bastard child of whatever. And yeah, everything is a teachable moment and stuff like that, but the idea is we have two different separate ideas. Let's come together and make this higher plane. That's what I don't know. Does that make sense?
The conversation around civil discourse, there are...
I have terrible thoughts. Listen, I have terrible ideas.
Probably a crowd that would...
I'm going to get canceled for that. It's going to be your fault.
Actually, that could be a whole sub-pod, is the After Dark. Just do After Dark thoughts.
Just talk about every stupid idea that you have right at night. Because we all have them. We all have them, we can't talk about them. I have stupid ideas all the time.
But see, okay, that's it. I can talk about that with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that for me, for the purpose of the podcast, is there is the interesting people who are just interesting on the surface are so much more interesting when you get to know them. So if I am attracted to a person's insides, I'm oh, there's so much more. It's like mining for gold, and I don't think there's an end with you. I don't think there's ever gonna there's subfloors below the baseboards, below the base. Yeah.
It's a mystery wrapped in
an enigma wrapped in a vest. But see, that's also very reminiscent of the art itself. So how would you consider your art representative of who you are?
I think so. I think that's the best way to describe it. People I've heard things about abstract art and what I do in particular, and I've shown people what I do. I showed exactly what I do, and no one has recreated it. So I think that that's a like a cool thing for my, like in my brain at least, that's like the highest compliment is no one has ever recreated what I've done. So like I think that's a testimony to like, yeah, that's part of me. That's me. You know what I mean? So no one can, like, I can take a photo and be like, oh, I painted that and put it through a Photoshop filter and call that a day, you know? But like, no one's recreated what I've done. AI hasn't done it yet. I've tried. I did the little Photoshop like AI thing, make an Alex Water thing. It didn't happen.
I personally love that as someone who appreciates your work, to be able to point your work out. Like, it makes me proud.
Okay.
I guess I'm proud of you.
Thanks, Mom.
She's also dead.
Yeah.
All the moms are dead. It makes me really proud to be able to point your work out when someone says, I'm not exactly sure who Alex Waters is. So would you tell people where your work is visible? I know where some of it is.
When's this releasing? How about that?
I don't know.
Okay.
But I can rush this thing to publish.
No. Right now it's at Stax in Albany and Stax in Troy. I don't know. This Friday is I'm doing a live painting thing at Stax. We're doing plugs. Look at us. We're doing a live painting at Stax this Friday, and I kind of just fall into art shows. Is that weird to say? I'm really bad at the whole business side of art and like doing the whole like, you know, sending my art JPEGs has to be this way, and like artist statements. No one reads them, but everyone wants them. I don't get that. And I don't know. But like the Albany Barn, I'm sure I'm going to have something there in the not so distant future. And AlexWatersArt.com.
You don't have to sneak.
I don't know. Well, like this is my first time doing a verbal plug.
Well, it's justified, completely justified, and I also do not want to leave off the music that you're producing music.
I'm in a band now.
Yeah. Can you tell us more about that, Alex?
Oh yeah, it's great. It's bummer music for bummer people now.
Dead moms.
People with dead moms. No, me and a couple of my college friends and a new friend started this band called Carnival Wenin. It's really cool if you like doom metal and like a meditation type of atmosphere when you go see us live. It's fun. I like it. We play movies. It's not really like moshy music, so don't like throw fists or anything like that. It's just a weird kind of feeling. It's kind of like the art stuff. It's a feeling more than anything. I like expressing feelings more than anything. And it's a new addiction. Bass guitar. Got so many pedals. And
there's toys.
I love toys.
Yeah. Gear is amazing.
I love toys.
That makes more sense, even though it's quite obvious.
Yeah.
I was like, when you say, "Oh, I have trouble expressing myself verbally," and yet now you have at least 2 outlets.
Yeah.
With which to express your feelings. Yeah, I can tell, like, we vibe on a whole, like, we have a frequency that I appreciate.
Yeah.
But there is like a skosh that doesn't show light of day. Like, I have a sense that.
Yeah. I'm a weird guy.
That is it's not weird. There's no need for a label on it. I'm not analyzing you. I'm not a fucking psychologist, but I'm like, I can usually tell when a man is withholding from me.
I'm not withholding. I don't think.
No, you've been very forthcoming, but there's always that piece. Just as people, sometimes we withhold. I think there's a protective instinct that goes along with.
Well, I think that has to do with like the humor thing as well, doesn't it? Where you like say shitty jokes about yourself to protect yourself because they might say something shitty about you too, right?
I know. I gotta shoot me before you stab.
Yeah.
When's your next gig for the band?
I think November. And we don't play around here that often, to be honest. I don't know. It's weird. I don't want to be in a band that goes on tour forever. Tour sucks. I want to play, you know, I like these experiences rather than you know, go see a band 9 times in Troy, Schenectady, Saratoga in like a weekend. We played one song that's 30 minutes long.
I love it. I love that idea, and it's very, like I said before, that reminds me of Fantasia. Did you ever see Disney's Fantasia?
I did when I was really young, but I remember the broom. That's the only thing I remember.
It was designed. I thought it's a neat concept, and I know these are apples and oranges, and I'm only connecting because I haven't seen you guys perform. I'm connecting it only conceptually with the Fantasia ideas because that was such an interesting concept. So many people like dropped acid and like experience. It's like going to a laser show or something. You know?
I've never done hallucinogenic. I think I missed out. I think I missed that boat. And like, I'd be kind of jealous of people that have done that. And I know I would end up on a ledge somewhere if I did. Because I get, like, if I smoke weed, I am in bed crying for... I can't do it. Like, I'm just white knuckling it through life. I'm like...
I love that. You know, weed is scary for me, too. And I think it smells. I'm just not... I find it utterly ironic that people abhor cigarette smoke up here, but openly smoke weed, which also smells like crap to me.
I love cigarettes. Oh my God, cigarettes are. I'm gonna quit someday, and it's gonna be a really sad day for me. You know, that's another one of my escape mechanisms where I can just like, all right, I'm gonna have a cigarette. Hey, I'll talk to you in a second. I need to go have a cigarette. I need to.
You need me to. But yeah, with that type of music, that's why I say I'm honestly interested to go see you. I'm not sure how far I'd drive to go see you, but...
no, we'll wait till we're around.
Yeah.
I think we're playing in Saratoga.
Okay. Oh, really? That's interesting. It's an interesting place for your
Desperate Andy's, that's a great place. Super Dark Mondays, they're called. They're nice.
Oh, I will stay abreast of your social media accounts.
Oh, well, I appreciate you. Pay attention to Castle Jackal. He does most of the work. He's great. Love that guy.
He is really nice, too. Like, he's nicer than what... He's very nice.
he's a nice fella. He's a nice
boy. He's
a
sweet man.
Sweet man.
Don't let the hood, like, scare you, because he's very nice. Okay, I appreciate you for playing along in this experiment, and I'm going to end your suffering here.
No, I'm having a great time.
Me too. I always have fun with you.
Yeah.
Well, these were meant to be sign-off questions, but since I forgot the transitional other questions, if I gave myself a minute, I would think about it. But I'm curious.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite sitcom?
Seinfeld. Come on.
Word.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up with Seinfeld. It's the best. I still go back to that. It's a comfort thing. Like, I have, like, comfort. You have comfort shows? Right. I have Seinfeld, and then movies. And
okay. What's your comfort movie?
I have. I'm discovering what they are recently.
Okay.
And it's really stupid. First one is Gangs of New York. I love that movie. It's terrible. It's not a...
The Butcher? Is that the one with the Butcher guy? Yeah, Daniel Day-Lewis. Oh, I love him. He's an artist.
He's perfect in that movie.
He is, absolutely perfect.
Cameron Diaz, on the other hand, oh my God. She is not meant for that part, and it's fine. And then another Daniel Day-Lewis movie, There Will Be Blood. I love that movie. Oh my, when I'm hanging out with my friends, we will constantly say "There Will Be Blood" quotes over and over. It's very good.
Key to your heart, DDL.
Why don't I have this?
I will say "There Will Be Blood" is not one of my top DDL movies, but I will go with Bill the Butcher, and
that's a good one, right?
I mean
that's Bill the Butcher.
Okay.
You nailed it.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go and watch it. I hadn't thought about an ambient movie, like background.
Oh, that's all I do.
Laying
in bed with my phone like this.
I know. Well, background for me, ambient, I mean, real life is fucking Dateline. I mean, Dateline.
Real life.
Dateline. I listen to Dateline podcasts. I listen to true crime, all that.
You listen to true crime too? I can't get into it. I try, and I'm just like, and I'm just like, oh no.
How is Dateline the line for you?
It's not even it's not the line. It's just difficult. Like I like fake stuff. Like
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I don't know. I like Evil Dead. I like that whole like Evil Dead 2. I think that's one of my favorite movies because it's stupid. And anything about Mel Brooks.
Oh my God, we've been jammed. Raspberry jammed. Spaceballs.
I don't like Star Wars, so I don't like Spaceballs. I know. I'm an anomaly. I don't like Star Wars.
Star Wars I can take her.
I hate it. I don't actively hate it, but I hate it.
What's your beef with Star Wars?
Why is everybody into this?
The culture, the fandom.
I understand being into stuff, but like that good of a movie, really? It's fine.
This is gonna sound super ignorant. I'm gonna get roasted. But are there Star Wars books, or is this just all cinema?
There is. There is books. There are. There are like books. There's comic book. I think there's this whole thing.
So is Star Wars based on a book?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
But could be. But like, it's not that good. Like, it's not my thing.
I think of Star Wars very little, so I'm right there with you. I like parodies. That's why Spaceballs was.
I like Young Frankenstein. I love.
I haven't watched that in ages.
I love that movie. I grew up with that movie.
Rip Gene Wilder.
Yeah, there's an interview with him, and he's really old, and they should have told him don't go.
Oh my God! I gotta find it. What's he talking about?
It's on The View.
Oh no!
And he's just like talking about how like comedians should stop being so vulgar. I'm like, you were doing work with Richard Pryor. What are you doing, Bob? Like, what?
Right.
Yeah. You were
Willy Wonka.
Yeah, you were in blackface in Silver Street. Do you not remember that, buddy? So, that being said, they should have told him not to do that. But Gene Wilder, Blazing Saddles, love that.
That's so good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. Mel Brooks in general, comfort movie. What's one for you? What's another one for you?
Well, my favorite movie. I don't know about it, but I have a lot of. Most movies are comfort, but like my favorite movie of all time is so it's like I love a really well written drama.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as someone who fancies herself a thinker and intellectual, I love a well written drama. But honestly, when we get down to the nut cutting, how did it? Wedding Singer is my favorite movie.
That's one of the best movies.
It is one of the best movies.
I love that movie.
Me too.
You know what I'm really upset about? This is like in the same kind of vein. One of my favorite movies of all time is Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Russell Brand, I can't watch it anymore. Can I? What a situation I'm in. I've literally said that's my favorite movie for so long. And it's the same kind of, he's a music guy, and like, there's Muppets in it. I love Muppets. Exactly.
Russell Brand, I don't know. That's unfortunate, and that's what got me along the lines of separating the art from the artist was this latest thing.
Yeah.
And without even reading on it, I'm not going to comment on Russell Brand. For me, it kind of sucks because I think he's in some form of recovery, or that whole life that started his career, he's no longer living now. And anything that throws shade on sober people, I hate for all of us. Sometimes peripherally. So, whatever. Okay, so we talked about TV and movies, and I don't like I said, ambient Dateline that's my phone scroll is just in the bed because there's some really interesting stories. I will say this about Dateline is I'm not going to pull a specific story, but I'd have to Google the numbers. I'm born in August, so I just had a birthday. August is a murder month. In the aggregate of all the true crime I've ever, at least the Dateline-centered ones, people be killing people in August.
Do you think it's because it's so hot?
It's upsetting to be that hot all the time.
Like,
Yes.
I wonder like the murder statistics in like the dead winter. Like,
Everyone's like, oh, it's too cold to murder. It's just too cold.
too cold.
We got lake effect, snow. The power is out. I don't feel like murdering.
I need some soup. Yeah. I got a shovel.
Fucking Snickers commercial. I was gonna go murder someone, and then I had a Snickers.
Exactly. It's the same thing. It's just the snow.
Oh, that is grotesque, and I'm
Okay.
gonna laugh at that later. Okay, so sorry. I'm really gonna laugh at that later. So sunrise or sunset? What's your favorite?
Sunrise. No, 100% sunrise. It's the start of something new, not the end of something. You know, you don't want to celebrate the end of things. You want to celebrate the beginning of things, right?
100%. I am definitely. I have all my energy before noon. You're gonna get the best of me before noon.
Yeah, then life just kicks you right in the head, and then you're like, bleh. But yeah, I love early mornings. I love making coffee in the morning. Yeah,
Yeah, you're quite a coffee guy. Isn't the collab with Stacks like
perfect.
Isn't it?
Perfect.
I love that for you.
Yeah.
I love that for you.
I love coffee so much. Like, it's such a new addiction. Like, not having the shakes in the morning. I don't know if you ever had the shakes. Like, you're just like, you could hold on to a cup of coffee now and enjoy it. Just like lay in bed with it on my stomach. And that's exactly what I used to do with scotch.
Table.
Just my own personal little table right here. I'm a phone talker.
You talk on the phone?
I'm a phone talker.
Breaking. I'm calling you. What's your phone? Give me your number when we're done.
Yeah,
I'm calling you.
I'm a phone talker. I talk on the phone.
Breaking news.
Yeah.
I never.
Whenever I'm driving, I'm on the phone.
Really?
Is that, like, that's legal, right? Hands free?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. I am always calling people. I will call whoever.
I never would have thought that.
I get more stuff done in the car, and I live right next to my job, like and so like whenever I do like the errands for the job, got the earpiece in. I'm one of those guys. I'm always on the phone.
I never would have thought. Why? Is it the intimacy of being in person that makes it harder to express some expression?
I'm really bad with the written word. I'm like really terrible with like. I'm dyslexic. I'm really dyslexic. I have a real problem with spelling. My humor doesn't come across in my texts.
Ugh.
And like you could read text in very shitty ways or very humorous ways. But like, you know, it all depends.
I straight up have stopped like commenting on my family's posts on Facebook, and I've stopped commenting in the group chat because I feel like I'm too weird. And it's my own family. Because I'm like, you ever like say something and you think it's funny or, ooh, that was cutting, that was good, that was a good comment, and it like falls completely flat. Nobody replies to it.
Every day of my life.
I'm like, I feel like I'm a walking version of the person that no one knows how to respond to. Like the left on red. If left on red was a person, I am that person. Absolutely.
Really?
Yes.
I don't, like, I turn off those. Like, I don't know, there's something freeing about my life that I'm just, I don't really care. I don't care. I got my dad, you know, that's who I care about. And like, yeah, so like, you know, he's not a texter.
Does he reach out to you during the day if he needs something?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Via text, by the way, he does text. Like, I upload him an iPad. He loves it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Does he know how to work it? Like, do you, like deep dive into it?
There's a lot I have to explain, but he still understands it.
I can't work an iPad.
I can work an iPad. I am also super nerdy. There's another little layer. I know a lot about Apple.
Oh.
I'm part of the whole Apple ecosystem.
Oh!
I am ingrained. Art school.
Genius bar, next stop.
You get a pack of Newports and MacBook Pro when you go to art school.
Okay, I just bought a pack of cigarettes the other day, so
Fabulous.
after this, if we light one up, will you explain how to take decent photos to me on my fucking iPhone? Because I
Very
take
simple.
terrible photos.
What iPhone do you have?
11.
11
It's not
Pro.
No.
Okay, there's your problem.
Ah.
But like, yeah, you can still be able to take good photos with it.
I'm
What's the editing software with that stuff? Like, get Photoshop on your phone. It's free. I think it's free. Yeah, there's all filters and stuff. It's crazy.
I will say this with the podcast and learning the new skills that are I think I talked to you about Open Studios at that is the new skills attached. Now, this is someone who stopped learning technology at MP3s.
Really?
So like 20 years ago. And I still have my iPod Nano. It's in my car.
Good for you.
Hell yeah. It's loaded with Metallica and Pantera, dude. And fucking Alan Jackson.
You're talking to me.
I think there's like old banana, old country, and anywho, so like I said, once MP3s, MP4s came, like LimeWire, all that shit, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm just gonna stop learning. And now, I fast forward in my life all these years later, and let it not go unacknowledged that one of the most hurtful things that was ever said to me that dogged me by people who claim to love me was that I talk too much, right? So the way that I express myself is lackluster for them. And now, Bish has her own podcast and other people want to actually talk to me.
Exactly.
So anyone who ever said you talk too much, you think too much, this one's for you. Anyway.
Sweet vengeance. It's yours.
It wasn't the motivating factor. It just occurred to me when I'm freaking pouring my heart out and all this other stuff. And it's funny how the turntables like that in life. And I think that deserves to be acknowledged. But if you, DJ Hardcut here, if you were a Care Bear, what would be depicted on your belly? What picture would be on your belly?
Probably like a full ashtray.
Oh. Full ashtray, empty mind.
Yeah, just a full ashtray. Just like, you can interpret that a whole lot of ways, and that's what's great about it.
My mom used to smoke when we were growing up. I remember going to the store and buying cigarettes.
I do too.
Yeah,
Benjamin and Hezer's.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Oh God, you just recovered some memories for me. I had flashbacks. That wasn't her brand. I think she went through a Virginia Slims era and then like a...
That's a fabulous cigarette as well.
Oh God.
Nat Sherman used to have these things called hints, and they had a little bit of sweetness on them. They were fabulous. They were like very thin, like Virginia Slims. Yeah.
Cigarette candy cigarettes.
Oh yeah, remember the good old days.
I just recovered another memory too. Have you ever smoked those cigarillos that were like brandy dipped? Like there's, I don't know who makes it, but there's something called Al Capone's.
Yes.
Okay.
I work in the cigar industry.
I just realized, like, who the fuck am I talking to? Yes.
Yes.
Those were fun for me, but they were really harsh because obviously they're not filtered.
A lot.
Yeah, they're not filtered.
Yeah.
I loved Al Capone's, but there's like several varieties.
There's a Jamaican Blaze. There's a bunch of them.
Huh.
You can get sponsored by them. Just say how great they are. You just have like a pack of them right here.
We're taking it back. We're taking it 40 years back in time.
Yeah, the Al Capone Sweets right here.
Sweets, yes, okay.
Al Capone Sweets. And there's Jamaican Blaze, and there's a bunch of them. They're cognac dipped.
Cognac dipped, okay.
Yeah.
There was a time, like one of the bars I used to drink in and met one of the most destructive relationships in, it turned partly into a cigar bar. and where it was located was in Galveston. I think it still is a cigar bar, but there's like pool there and live music and stuff. But I remember one day after work, so I used to wait tables. This is when I was drinking, so it's pre-recovery. So I mean, when you wait tables and you're an alcoholic or an addict, you go straight to the bar after
shift drinks.
Absolutely. And some dude was really generous. I was drinking, I guess, wine or something, and some guy was really generous and like bought me a cigar and like taught me how to smoke a cigar at the bar. And there wasn't any expectation of anything, because obviously, when you're in that life, you scan for that. He was actually just being generous of spirit, and I was like, I still remember how to smoke a cigar. I bought one not that long ago, and then let it go stale, because those things are pretty tough. Cigars are tough, and it's weird to smoke one by yourself.
Yeah, it's a communal experience. So cigars to me are such a cool thing sometimes, because of the fact that, in every aspect of my life, I was always drawn to the anti stuff, like I was talking about. So hardcore music. You're on the outskirts of society, but everyone in that community knows each other, and you call it cool with each other. Art, abstract art is on the cusp of art, and you guys all know each other. Cigar smoking, severely looked down upon in society, but you walk into a cigar lounge and you just have a cigar. It doesn't matter who around you have this one thing in common. And so that one thing in common is this thing that everyone else hates.
The deplorables, the baskets of deplorables.
Yes.
I have had many stimulating conversations around a cigarette. I do know that it's not a requirement, but usually, especially in today's, I don't know how you feel, but in today's life where it's increasingly looked upon, cigarettes in particular, looked down upon, it always looks like it feels like there's this aura of shame when you see someone smoking. I guess maybe I'm projecting that onto the people, but they're always like, trying to
There's
hide
no
themselves.
shame in my game. I do that with my chest puffed out. Ooh, I can't wait till the next drag.
I love cigarettes. Wouldn't that be awesome to get a Marlboro sponsorship?
I think it's highly illegal. But I don't know, because podcasting is such a new media, as far as things are concerned, and I don't know if they're in the case where you can't advertise, because they can't do any kind of real advertisements anymore. So
that is interesting. Go a courting.
Yeah. Or do the zins. The zins have been life-saving to me. Those little stupid bro boy things.
Oh God, I'm not sure I'm aware of what you're saying.
These little guys, these things are little nicotine pouches.
Oh, the patch. Okay.
No, they're pouches that go in your lip.
Pouches.
Yeah. I'm on this entire time. It's been great.
So how long have you been smoking? When did you pick up cigarettes?
When I was 19. I'm a statistical anomaly.
I was a late bloomer to alcohol. I was 19 when I started.
Same. I was straight edge in high school.
Really?
Yeah, I was straight edge.
Oh,
edge till death.
The enigma wrapped in a riddle.
A whole bunch of, I was straight edge. I wasn't minor threat and shit like that. Art school's interesting because a lot of people don't, after college, don't do it. I think me and Jack are pretty much the only ones that still do it. After, all of our friends, it's kind of okay, kind of interesting that way.
It feels reminiscent of probably lots of industry or something that requires a deep knowledge base. It's that was fun for a minute, now let me get a quote-unquote real job. That's what's very impressive. Of course, I was never really involved in the arts community in the way that I am in terms of a supporter before my life here. But I find it quite impressive that there are so many highly educated artists around. These people got degrees. I don't have a degree. I don't have a degree.
See, I thought you were a master's of psychology.
Bullshit.
Yeah, bullshit.
Bullshitter. Pro bullshitter.
Pro bullshitter.
No, I dropped out of college. I couldn't afford it, and it didn't occur to me.
Neither could I. We'll pay that shit off.
Now, so many years later, I'm like, bro, I might hate my job, but at least I don't have student loans.
Let's start your life out with crippling debt. How about that?
I mean, these people have just reached the age of majority, and they'll never be able, some of them will never be able to buy a home. I mean, the world
has changed so much, I don't think that a lot of people are going to actually own homes. It's a really difficult proposition when houses are like $300,000 for a starter home. I'm just like, yucky. I'll live in my apartment, thank you very much.
When I gave up my life in Texas, I never want to own another, because that idea of the American dream being the nuclear family, which I also don't have and don't really want. I don't want to have children.
Yeah.
So the nuclear family and the home and the white picket fence, I don't want that responsibility either, and because it works for me. But, that whole American dream idea, I feel like there's a lot of folks waking up to the fallacy and the can't keep up and the crippling financial responsibility in order to have that. And honestly, as a single person, I'm like, bro, I might have to get another job. And it's not New York. It's not just New York in terms of cost of living. Texas is very deceptive because it's quote unquote a cheap state, not if you are a homeowner. Taxes are high, and every bit of that tax money goes to the roads, more people, more taxes. Huge war chest for the state that is not spent on social services, which I find ridiculous. Here in New York, you can see where your money goes. Maybe people hate that. Maybe people don't like high taxes, but I really appreciate the poor being taken care of in a way that makes a little bit more sense. That's why I like living here. But yeah, the whole idea, I'm just going to say it, the sham and the scam that is the American dream, I think there's a huge amount, obviously it doesn't take a researcher to know, in common parlance and common language, people are out there suffering. And especially October 1st is just around the corner, so student loan repayments are kicking right back off again. Yeah. And I think there is so much emphasis, rightly so, on really staying in the moment, because a lot of folks will not be able to quote unquote live the American dream anymore.
Yeah, what did George Carlin say? Yeah, it's called the American dream because you'd be asleep to believe it.
Yeah. This is honestly, and it's really not political to me. I feel like as a country we've left so many people behind in the pursuit of capitalism. And that's a whole other dissertation.
Let's get into some conspiracies.
Yeah. But there's so many people left behind, and that's really a shame. So living one day at a time, which is I interpreted the way I interpret something you said earlier, is I think staying in the moment as much as possible is the methodology that a lot of people are using to just not have that crushing, crippling feeling that they're not going to make it to 70 financially or emotionally or,
I mean, definitely. No, we'll see what happens.
I could be dead tomorrow, and I had Alex Waters in my bedroom.
Not a great thing.
And nothing happened.
Just a negative.
Yeah, I was gonna say, all we did was talk shit about ourselves.
All we did was whine about how bad we are as people.
I know. Spending time with you, Alex, is always, it does my heart really good. I'm ending now. I don't have a pretty way. The 3 questions was the end. So the Care Bear stare.
Okay, so the ashtray cigarettes, deli. Yeah. I think that's perfect. It means that the conversation was had.
Yeah. Thank you, Alex, for joining in this experiment.
All
I
right.
appreciate you for being a team player.
Thank you for having me. This has been great. I'm enjoying every second of this.